According to a new inflation report, consumer prices ticked up in November compared to October. It's the latest sign that inflation remains a persistent issue for people across this country. The new rise coincides with another cost of goods concern for Americans. Grocery giant Albertsons called off its nearly $25 billion merger with Kroger after a federal judge temporarily blocked the union in an effort to protect consumers from increasing costs yesterday. Albertsons is also now suing the rival grocery chain, claiming Kroger willfully breached the merger agreement. In response, a spokesperson for Kroger told CBS News, quote, Albertsons' claims are baseless and without merit. CBS News MoneyWatch correspondent Kelly O'Grady joins us now to break this all down. Kelly, good to see you. I'm glad you're here. What grounds exactly is Albertsons suing Kroger over?
Well, it's good to be with you, Caitlin. And this is really about breach of contract. So Albertsons is saying that Kroger did not fulfill the agreement to merge and that, in fact, they stood in the way of this happening. They're saying that they didn't do enough to convince the judge that this was a good merger, that they've spent hundreds of millions of dollars. Now, of course, Kroger is saying, well, that's certainly not the case. We did everything that we possibly could. We wanted this to go through. Any company can sue anyone, so it's really where this will go. But right now it's about breach of contract.
I do want to talk about today's consumer price index because it shows inflation rose at a faster annual and monthly rate in November compared to October. So we're all wondering, and you've been reporting a lot on this, kind of how all of this will affect the Federal Reserve's meeting next week. What should we expect?
So we should expect a quarter-point cut still, and the markets are absolutely pricing that in. But this does raise the question of, hey, we are seeing the fight against inflation kind of hit a wall here. We're seeing this. It's not just an anomaly. It's not just 1 month. We've now had 2 months where inflation is rising. And Caitlin, when you dig into the numbers, it's rising because of food prices, shelter prices. These are necessities. You can't just say, well, I'll eat next month. So it's certainly going to spark a discussion for the Fed of, hey, we have a strong job market. We're seeing inflation start to tick back up. Should we pause? I will say that's unlikely to happen because the investors want the rate cut. They've priced it in, and the Fed doesn't want to disappoint them.
Yeah, that's an important point there because that's how people, measure their personal economies, the price of food, something that they obviously need. In other news today, the NASDAQ hit 20,000 for the first time ever today. Can you give us some context about what exactly that means? And does this CPI report have anything to do with it?
So it's definitely because of the CPI report, because there is the expectation, because the numbers came in line with expectations. The expectation was it was going to tick up. But that expectations line is important because what investors see is a rate cut means very good things for tech stocks. The NASDAQ is a very tech-heavy index. And when you get a rate cut, the cost to borrow money goes down. That means all your tech companies that invest in AI, they can pour more money at a cheaper cost. And that's why you're seeing the markets rise, because that cut is expected.
All right. We will keep an eye on that, as you will too. Kelly O'Grady, thank you so much.